Hi, friends! Yesterday we read a story about two new friends, Frog and Toad, and how they were getting ready to have fun in the springtime. And today's story, we are going to go back and see our two friends, Frog and Toad, in their version of the story. So, we're going to read a story that's about a story. Whoa! Okay, friends, here we go. One day in the summer, Frog was not feeling well. Toad said, "Frog, you are looking quite green." Said Frog, "I am, Frog." "Today you look very green, even for a frog," said Toad. "Get into bed and rest." Toad made Frog a cup of hot tea, and Frog drank all the tea, and then he said, "Tell me a story while I am resting." "All right," said Toad. "Let me think of a story to tell you." Toad thought and thought, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. "I will go to the front porch and walk up and down," said Toad. "Perhaps that will help me to think of a story." Toad walked up and down on the porch for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad went into the house and stood on his head. "Why are you standing on your head?" asked Frog. "Well, I hope that if I stand on my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. And Toad stood on his head for a long time, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Then Toad poured a glass of water over his head. "Why are you pouring water over your head?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I pour water over my head, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. Toad poured many glasses of water all over his head, but he could not think of a story to tell Frog. Is Toad being silly? Yeah, he was walking up and down the porch. He stood on his head, and now he's pouring water over his head. Oh, such a silly Toad. Then Toad began to bang his head against the wall. "Why are you banging your head against the wall?" asked Frog. "I hope that if I bang my head against the wall, it will help me to think of a story," said Toad. I Oh, I am feeling much better now," said Frog. "I do not think I need a story any more." "Then you get out of bed and you let me get into it," said Toad, "because now I feel terrible." Frog said, "Would you like me to tell you a story, Toad?" "Yes," said Toad, "if you know one." And Frog began. "Once upon a time, there were two good friends, a frog and a toad. The frog was not feeling very well, and he asked his friend the toad to tell him a story. The toad could not think of a story, and so he walked up and down the porch, but he could not think of a story. He stood on his head, but he could not think of a story. He poured water over his head, but he could not think of a story, and he banged his head into the wall, but he could not think of a story. Then the toad did not feel so well, and the frog was feeling better. So the toad went to bed, and the frog got up and told him a story. The end. "How was that, Toad?" said Frog, but Toad did not answer, for he had fallen fast asleep. The end. Whoa! Frog told Toad the story that was happening in real life. Toad made that story come true. That is pretty spectacular. Friends, I want you to try something for me, okay? I want you to tell a story to your mommy or daddy about something you did today. Okay? I want you to tell mommy or daddy a story about something you did today. Just like Frog told the story of Toad. I want you to be like Frog and tell a story of something you see today. Well, friends, that's all the time we have for right now, but you have a wonderful rest of your day, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.